Okay, in this video, let's talk about how to use the StatCrunch to do the hypothesis test that we have talked about, and also the confidence intervals that we have talked about in previous handout. So if you go to StatCrunch, go to Stat, what we are doing here is a t-test, right? So you go to t-test. Here, we are just talking about a one sample t-test. All the population mean we have talked about is just from one population. We are testing for mu equals to 60 or mu not equal to 60. So we have just one sample. In the example that we have seen for the coffee example, we know the summary of data. So we use with summary. If you don't know the summary, if you just have your raw data set, you could choose the option with data. But here, since we know the summary, so we go with summary. So a new window pop out. Let's plug in all the information we have learned from the question into those blanks. So the sample mean we got from our sample is 58.5. The sample standard deviation is 2.5. The sample size is 10. So we are trying to perform a hypothesis test. Our null hypothesis is mu equals to 60. And our hypothesis in the first example is mu less than 60. So let's leave all those not selected, compute. This is the result. If you can see, that's exactly the same as what we got when we computed by hand. The degrees freedom is 9. The t-test statistic is negative 1.8973, and the p-value is 0.0451. Similarly, if you are doing the two-sided test or right-handed test, so again, the t-stat, one sample with summary, you can plug in the same thing. And it's now just this time, for example, let's go with the two-sided test. You're choosing not equal to. You compute. That's the result you got. And you can see it's the same as what we just computed by hand in our previous video. So this is how you could use StatCrunch to do hypothesis test. If you notice that you can also use this procedure in StatCrunch to find out the confidence interval. So suppose with the same coffee example data we are having here, I'm trying to find a 90% confidence interval. So you go stat, t-stat, one sample with summary. I'm going to enter the same data summaries here. 2.5, the sample size is 10. If we are trying to find the confidence interval for mu, so here you can specify your confidence level. Let's do 90%. That gives you the 90% confidence interval result for mean of the population. It will be from 57.05 to 59.95. And if you are curious, you could go ahead to calculated using the t score formula to calculate confidence interval, you will see you are getting the same result here. So this is how we could use StatCrunch to find out our confidence intervals and perform our hypothesis test.